So, in the world of hearing technology, we've got two Danish giants placing these massive, completely opposing bets on the future. It's pretty wild. One is going all in, pure play healthcare. The other, they're blending medical grade devices with things like gaming headsets. So, using their brand new 2025 reports, we're going to break down these clashing strategies and really try to figure out who might win the battle for your ears. Let's get into it.
Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll set the stage, look at the challenging market they're both up against. Then, we'll dive deep into each company's playbook, put them head to head, and finally, explore what this whole battle really means for the future of hearing itself.
So what kind of world are these companies actually operating in right now? Well, to put it lightly, 2025 is turning out to be a really tough year for the entire hearing technology space. Demant's own report calls it a soft global hearing healthcare market with intense competition. This isn't one of those situations where a rising tide lifts all boats. Nope, this is a fierce head-to-head battle for every piece of market share, and it's forcing everyone to make a big strategic bet on where things are headed. And this is where it gets so interesting, because our two main players could not be more different. On one side, you've got Demant, betting everything on being a pure healthcare specialist. And on the other, there's HDIN Nord, which is playing a much wider field, mixing their hearing aids with consumer audio and even gaming. And look, these aren't just different business plans. We're talking about fundamentally different visions for what a hearing device even is. All right, first up, let's unpack Demant's strategy. Their entire model is built around one thing: deep focus and complete end-to-end control. They are the definition of an integrated specialist. The key phrase you need to know for Demant is vertical integration. Now, it's a bit of a business school term, but all it really means is that they want to own the entire journey for the patient, from the moment you get a diagnostic test in a clinic to the factory that makes the device, all the way to fitting it in your ear. And you can see their whole structure right here. It's so clear. Their diagnostics division makes the testing equipment, their hearing aids division with famous brands like Oticon actually builds the devices, and then their hearing care division sells and services them directly to you, the customer. It's a completely closed loop. And the sheer scale of this control is just staggering. We're talking about over 4,500 of their own clinics around the world. That gives them a direct, unfiltered line to the end user. They get incredible data on what people actually need and have total control over the customer experience. But, being this focused has its risks. When the one market you're totally dedicated to suddenly softens, well, there's really nowhere to hide. And their CEO says it pretty bluntly in the 2025 report. It was a disappointing year. They had to revise their financial outlook downward twice. So even that deep integration couldn't protect them from the market's overall weakness. So what's their response? They're doubling down. They're pushing for more efficiency and are betting huge on product innovation. A perfect example is their new Oticon Zeal. It's an AI-powered, super discreet hearing aid. It's designed to tackle what is probably the biggest barrier for new users: visibility. Their bet is simple: superior, specialized products will win in the end. Okay, so now let's pivot to HDIN, because they paint a completely different picture. If Demant is all about depth, HDIN is all about breadth. These guys are the diversified innovators. See, HDIN doesn't just play in the medical hearing aid space with their brand ReSound. They're also a massive player in consumer audio with Jabra. You've probably seen their headsets. And even in high-performance gaming with SteelSeries. They're literally operating across three distinct but related worlds of sound. The core bet here is all about synergy. HDIN believes that a tech breakthrough in one area can directly benefit another. So, for example, imagine the super advanced microphone tech they developed for a Jabra Office headset. They could potentially adapt that to help a ReSound hearing aid pick out voices better in a noisy restaurant. It's all about cross-pollinating innovation. But, and this is a big but, here's the really surprising result for 2025. Despite this big, diversified portfolio, their organic revenue growth was -1%. And that just shows you how hard their strategy is to actually pull off. Managing all these different businesses is incredibly complex, and that idea of synergy is clearly not some simple, easy path to growth.
So, what we have here is the classic specialist versus the generalist. The totally integrated healthcare provider versus the diversified tech group. How do these two competing philosophies really stack up against each other?
This table just lays it all out so clearly. The fundamental divide is obvious. Demant's big advantage is that total control over the patient journey. HDIN's is that potential for tech synergy.
But as we saw in 2025, both of these models were seriously tested. Demant got exposed to the soft market it completely depends on, while HDIN's diversification didn't manage to protect it from stagnant growth.
And this brings us right to the central question for anybody watching this industry. As those lines between medical devices and consumer electronics keep getting blurrier and blurrier, which model is actually built for the future? Is it better to be the absolute master of one domain, or a jack of several related trades? Ultimately, this rivalry isn't just about two companies duking it out. It's really about the evolution of an entire category of technology in healthcare. It's a big deal.
Here's the core of it, right here. Demant believes a hearing aid is and always will be a specialized medical device that's prescribed and fitted by a professional. End of story. But HDIN, with all its Jabra and SteelSeries DNA, is pushing for a future where a hearing device is just another piece of connected consumer tech, like your earbuds or your smartwatch.
So where does that leave us? Well, the 2025 results show that neither path is a cakewalk. Demant's intense focus makes it vulnerable, while HDIN's diversification brings its own baggage of complexity and challenges. Right now, we have two titans forging two very, very different paths. And the one that will define the future of hearing, well, that is still very much yet to be heard. Now, if you want to dig way deeper into the data and the numbers behind all this, the complete report that we base this analysis on is available at the link you see on your screen. Thanks so much for tuning in.